Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for my client Antonio's vlog. And even though Antonio's new to vlogging, people realize he's not new to my coaching. He used to do his vlogs on his own channel. He just took a few months off. He came back after about 5 months out. I coach Antonio about 50% of the year. He did regress quite a bit, so we're building him back up because he had a long period of time where he only got to the gym once or twice a week. But he's going to get back on the platform this year, so we are back in training. And he bought a package from me last year to use this year. He bought a 6-month package. So we're doing that, and he wants to vlog. So this is part 2 of the vlogs, but let's get right into the training. We run very classic conjugate for him. As you guys saw for the max effort lift for upper, we did a pin press, right? We did a bench press about 1 inch above his chest off of pins. For our supplemental work afterwards, we're doing floor presses. He's doing some floor JM presses. Although we do floor skull crushers and stuff for him all the time. We just do a lot of different tricep exercises for Antonio. Right now, though, his pecs and stuff do need a little more work. So some of his dynamic days, he's going to be going to the gym, and we're going to use dumbbells instead of the floor presses. But right now, this is what we're doing. And then, of course, we're doing some extra rowing. We're doing meadows rows, and just for the sake of brevity, I pulled the ones out of this one. I'm going to put them in from his other upper day in here. So it's pretty straightforward. Now, people say that volume seems all a little low. Well, we're not throwing in the band work and stuff. Plus, he loves to do like the winning warm-ups type thing, so he gets in and does a bunch of sets of stuff. So he does a bunch of tricep work with bands before he even gets started on these days. Now, some people will say, well, would that affect his maxes? Yeah, it can, but he doesn't care because he's not going to do them on meet days, and he knows he'll be stronger. So even on the lower body days, we end up doing, he does belt squats and reverse hypers and all of that before he even lifts. And we don't record all that. We don't need all the warm-ups. It'd be too much footage. So here he is. We're doing double maxes right now on his lower days. So for max effort, we did a squat against the cambered bar, right? So a cambered bar back squat. Wasn't against it. Well, it was against it. And we did a sumo deadlift, and he ended up going really heavier and missing it. We didn't include the footage there. So that 420 was our last kind of ramp up. So we got it just to show him doing a sumo, but he did miss off the floor. But there's a lot of fatigue going on. And then, of course, we finish up with things like leg curls. He's not strong enough at the moment to do the glute ham raises on the device he has access to. We had him there at one time, but again, he detrained quite a bit. So we're going to get him ready to get back on the platform. We're going to hit PRs, right? Even though he's getting weaker, people are like, what do you mean? He did a 275 floor press. It's like a 400 squat. What do you mean PRs? Well, he's going to PR because we're just building back up now. We're going to be close to 500 squat by the time he gets there, right? So we're going to shoot for around a 500 squat or close to, at least a 500 sumo deadlift. And ideally, I'd like to see him bench at least 300. Now, before people say, well, those aren't that great, well, they're good enough at the level he's competing at. He places well. He's still a junior. And we put 200 pounds on his squat. Right? I took him up to a 480 squat from a 280 when he started. We did that in less than 2 years. Right? So basically, late novice numbers to hitting a 480 squat in a year and a half. So I'll get him to 500 eventually. But he had said in the future he's not going to detrain like that. He wants to stay on top of all this. So I'm going to try to keep him on for coaching so that I can keep him from losing that motivation. And I said he gets mixed up with school, work, everything else, because he goes to school and he works. So again, his free time gets really cut, and his ability to focus as much as we would like. But the thing to keep in mind, you got to give credit here. He, at his age, goes to school, works, and still competes in powerlifting. But we finished up there for other lifts. We did belt squats, and then we did reverse hyperextensions. All right, for dynamic effort upper day, we use bands. I generally use bands with Antonio because his speed strength tends to be bad. He's stronger than he is fast. So I always like to use bands for him to try to force him to get faster. So we do our normal setup of 9x3 rotating grips on that against heavy band tension. So we run like 25% of his max in bands. Afterwards, we do floor presses. If he's at the commercial gym, we will do dumbbell presses in this slot. So we do that, and then on this day, we add in some overhead pressing because he likes the standing press. We want to bring his delts up. We're probably going to rotate those over to dumbbells, though. We've realized he does better with dumbbells for his overhead work. So when he gets over to the other gym, we'll be able to just do dumbbell chest presses and then seated dumbbell presses for shoulders. And so here we have the overhead press coming. And the only thing I don't like there, I think his elbows are rotated back too far. He needs to keep them in front of the bar. And for people who are watching this, that is a correction that needs to be made. But he knows he is going full range of motion. We're touching the chest, comes to a dead stop, drives it up. And that's really what helps your bench the most, is when you get good at that dead stop press, right? Because overhead press tends to make you stronger out of the very bottom of your bench. So getting the pause here as well is extremely beneficial for that. Just a pro tip. But those elbows need to be pushed forward more. You don't want that bar going in front of your elbows like we see here, but that's okay. That's why you should all film your lifts. Here he is doing some Meadows rows. He came and finished his other stuff after he was getting ready to go somewhere, so he's got a different shirt on. And, Antonio doesn't care. He's like, I'll lift in this shirt. I don't care. It's a funny thing about him. He doesn't care what people think about him, and it's one of the things that I like about Antonio. He just doesn't care. And he really doesn't. He's just going to do his own thing, and more power to him. Like I said, he's successful at all of it. He's, doing decently well in powerlifting. He's gotten to the national level already while going to school full time and working. And he's actually gets extremely good grades, and he's working on a microbiology degree, I believe. I'm sorry, or is it biochem? I think it's biochem, actually. So you can't knock it. All around going to be very successful in life, in my opinion. All right, dynamic effort lower day. Speed squats with a safety bar using bands. And of course, they're box squats. We generally do speed work as box squats. I've got him doing conventional for here because we realize his sumo goes up even if we just train conventional. So we're doing conventional speed pulls. Yes, he likes hook grip. He likes to use hook grip even on his speed work. It took a while to get his thumbs that tough, but he prefers it. He's best with it, so that's what we utilize. But yeah, hook grip against heavy bands, you got to have some tough thumbs for that. All right, on this day then afterwards, after the dynamic work, we do Romanian deadlifts because again, hamstrings are really limiting him right now. His hamstrings are his weak link in his deadlifts in general. So we've got to bring those up, and he's not strong enough to do the glute ham raises. So we add some hamstring curls to this afterwards. And then of course we do belt squats, which you guys will see here at the end, which I'm a big fan of and I'm glad he has access to. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.